The Society for the Preservation of Lost Things and Missing Times Bureau of Determination, in cooperation with the Greater Portland Chamber of Notions for Future Perfection and related activities, ventured to scheme a forward-thinking project defining the right and true vision for the Rose City in its immediate future and long-term timeline. We at the Society for the Preservation of Lost Things and Missing Time gathered a team of architects, artists, engineers, mystics, psychologists, medical professionals, and others to study, devise, plan, brainstorm, and model what we feel is the appropriate course for the future of the Rose City. We chose historic Irving Park neighborhood in northeast Portland, Oregon, as the location for our proposed monstrosity. This expansive high-rise, multi-use complex is a veritable manifest destiny of design. A leap onward in the nexus of form and function, the inevitable union of forward-thinking expansion, sleek modernist ideal, vertical ambition, and futurist oblivion. Buildings, their levels and spaces, verandas and facades, entrances and exits, occulted chambers and cloistered wardrobes, embody human consciousness without doing it the dishonor of wholly being able to represent it. An analysis of its structures reveals an analog to the architecture of the mind, as well as a striking similarity to supersized anthills. Conceived to absorb local growth as Portland races toward the 22nd and 23rd centuries. The main building, Irving Park Vertical, is many things, all of them at once. It is a medical research facility, a center for entertainment commerce, and a simulation training facility for replicating domestic situations. It is a miniature penal colony, a necropolis, low-income housing for the middle class, an astrological observatory, a psychological evaluation receiving facility, and the concert hall, among others.
Atención, se cierra la puerta. Pista 23.
In a nod to Portland's eclectic inclinations in the 21st century, it boasts a refurbished 19th century theater repurposed as a library. This retro postmodernist pastiche works to appease a broad spectrum of sensibilities, as well as reinforce the notion that progress is for the collective good. The 23rd level is a benevolent monster that discriminates equally and furthers the notion that locally conceived and executed projects are a consistent force for sound economics and civic pride. An epic project for a city that tends to favor urban planning contracts as always being best when awarded locally, just by virtue of being local in origin and execution. On the 9th level, the ghosts and other perceptible residue of memories stored within Irving Park's invisible landscape are invited to commune. Awash in photons, dimensionally parallel beings living in the interstitial quantum spaces within the light of the Northwest are permitted to enter onto the 9th level. Once separated into spectral components by a system of prisms contained in Irving Park Vertical's conical smokestack-like topmost appendage, even on the grayest of days, this deceptively rich light travels downward and disperses into so much ephemera. The 8th level is composed of labyrinthine right angles. This level is intended to serve as a procession, an infinite continuum whose perimeter is everywhere and center is nowhere. The 8th level offers a decentralized universe of living. The building offers everything on the 8th level, yet nothing's there. The corridors are like a series of memories that we walk through, each superimposed atop one another. The 8th level is for coincidences and causalities, vectors that are drawn to a center that is never seen. We are permitted at best an assumption, and forced into reconciliation when the lines don't match or intersect. The 8th level brings out the Minotaur within us all, chasing or being chased, a regression of mirrors.
Central space.
Level 12 is where we offer better living through domestic training simulations. All occupants of IRVING Park Vertical undergo yearly training and recurrent training sessions. Our training standards take into account the latest research as we execute our patented multi-step advanced qualification program. These include Step 1, Loss of Loved One Preparedness, Step 2, Relational Space Invasion Prevention Techniques, Step 3, Simple and Easy Resource Management for the Elderly, Step 4, Humility Risk Awareness and Prevention, Step 5, Resolution-Based Family Strife Acceptance and Denial Strategies, and Step 6, Libidinous Urges, Risk versus Reward Seminars for Commuting Spouses. In the future, we will incorporate fact-based algorithms to facilitate eternal bliss coupling despite polysterile, memory-stalled contracts in the average domestic partners, and arrival and departure procedures for children of narcissistic parents. While non-biological entity adaptation units are still in the technological horizon, we do expect to begin training for full frontal engagement with multi-dimensional relationship acquaintances within the next 5 to 10 years. We also offer training in chemical dependence sampling approaches for the chronically sober, as well as love addiction-based social networking techniques as replacement for real-world interactions. Our state-of-the-art simulators present humanistic and sensitive scenarios tailored to your changing needs. And we offer better living instruction than lifestyle buildings of equal or greater value in the Portland area. Level 12 Simulation Department technicians and instructors will keep future inhabitants of IRVING Park Vertical on the forefront of domestic simulation technology and humanistic living preparedness, effectively and efficiently for eons to come.
Séptimo piso.
The 7th level is the meta level. In the future, every building will have a level dedicated to understanding its properties, its methods, and its utility. What is it when the map becomes the landscape? We leap from the proposal to the thing itself. When a text or an idea, or in this case a proposal, joins the common mind and its hive of culture and language, it moves beyond enclosure and control. The landscape is revealed to us via its proposal. This is the essence of modernity, that we are encouraged to see the places in our world by how they are of use to us. Yet, in order to see landscapes, or buildings for that matter, as things in and of themselves, or as part of a system outside of their use, they must be removed from their functionality. Thus, the modernist moment is never reached. The effects of memory on place are too wide and far-reaching. The landscape is a memory, and the map becomes the thing itself. The landscape is no longer a landscape at all, but instead, to quote Nabokov, a self-immolating postcard world of failed immortality and oppressive grandeur. The seventh level of Irving Park Vertical operates at a higher level of abstraction in order to not only describe its own properties, but also to carry out other possible combinations of its metadata in order to achieve the best possible outcome. The 17th level is the entertainment center. The motivating condition of our desperate need for entertainment lies in our being trapped within ourselves, unable to escape the horror of selfhood. Whether through comedy, fantasy, or escapism, we are an immature culture and level 17 is our playground. How do we assimilate the formal analogs of an information-saturated post-postmodernist world? On the 17th level, we offer detachment and compartmentalization. We offer packaged anesthetic and prescription medication. Here you'll feel right at home as you give in wholeheartedly to the forgetfulness of play. Here we offer distraction to turn your worried minds away from the problems of the ages. Here you are permitted to forget without guilt or regret. The 17th level also boasts Irving Park Vertical's Soul Movie Theater. It has a rotating selection of films spanning popular genres, but at least once per day its silver screen offers James Incandenza's The Entertainment, a film said to be so compelling and fatally seductive that anyone who watches it loses all will to do anything but view it in endless repetition. Level 4 offers existential lifestyle management and Keynesian indoctrination. Properly coached, a sense of self is shaped by supply and demand at Irving Park Vertical's one-stop shopping convenience. If the 20th century illustrated anything, it was that the accident of evolution, which gave us consciousness, also begs us into believing the illusion that we have a self at all. Our inhabitants are shells, highly trained to believe that they have a self, when in fact they are all nobodies in need of identification with rebellion and freedom and creativity through commercial products and social networks, all available for purchase and consumption on level 4. A miniature penal colony occupies areas of level 4 off-limits to the rest of the population. A self-regulated refuge for ethically indulgent, verbally violent, and occasionally malicious among our population, this is where the betrayers among us are relegated. Level 4 prohibited area houses the ingrates, the thieves, murderers, tax evaders, and hardcore drug addicts. A jointly funded gamble between the federal government and private industry. We put them to work as productive members of society. with the product of their labors used to fund their incarceration, rehabilitation, and reintroduction to brand identity and its illusory sense of self.
Viendo. Piso 21.
On the 21st level, Irving Park Vertical will be offering the cutting edge in sleep-based employment technology, where inhabitants can work and toil at information and computer systems management type jobs while asleep and dreaming, thus doubling personal productivity and minimizing the need to ever leave.
Primer piso.
The entrance delivers inhabitants and visitors alike to the psychogeography of Irving Park Vertical. The future is nigh, and here one is permitted entry to its vast timeline, a feedback loop where the present and past unendingly unfold and effectively demonstrate elegant solutions to the challenge of urban growth. The entrance is a portal reminding the inhabitants of Irving Park Vertical that in the future they are always between worlds. Suppose that Portland is not a human habitation, but a psychic entity with a similarly short yet complex past, an entity in which nothing that has come into existence will have passed away, and all the previous phases of development, all of its neighborhoods and parks and business districts, all of its previous iterations, continue to exist parallel to the latest and most current one. An inhabitant of Irving Park Vertical would have to sway their gaze in order to view upon one age or the other. Seeing them side by side, the things that formed in our minds, the photos of old Portland, landscape paintings of Irving Park in the ages before the building was constructed, coupled with our individual memories of walking down this particular street at that particular time, or having lived in one such apartment or another over the years. The psychic corpus of them within us never perishes. And not only can they be brought to light in the right circumstances, they coexist with us in a manner not unlike how memories influence dreams. As Portland City grows past its borders on the horizontal axis, and the vertical structures fill with decades of humanity, the dead will amass. Modeled directly from Paris's catacombs, beneath Irving Park Vertical, we have already begun digging the dozens of miles of future burial tunnels. Irving Park Vertical's future tenants will eventually add up into the tens of thousands, filling every inch of underground real estate with their ossified remains. Every unit purchased will bring with it the guarantee of having yellowing bones stacked for future generations to come to terms with. Multi-religious and quasi-spiritual burial ceremonies and their monetary costs are offered on a sliding scale. Even in the afterworld, death, the great equalizer, will become maximum fodder for capitalistic venture. For those future tenants choosing to lease or rent a unit at Irving Park Vertical, The subterranean level offers only a memento mori, a persistent reminder beneath your feet of the tragedy that life is, that the piles of bones wait for our own to join them. In the future, Irving Park Vertical forecasts to grow from the proposed solitary building to a complex of buildings ranging in size and purpose. The future dissolution of the current city-state political economic model that the City of Portland employs with the State of Oregon, as well as the federal government, will bring with it necessary changes. We foresee each building, or district of buildings, having their own government, as well as rules and regulations governing alternative lifestyles, economics, and social political structures. In the 2090s, as the federal union binding the United States of America fractures, population growth in the Northwest will concurrently reach its apex. Resources will become scarcer. Water shortages, already old news in the rest of the country, begin to affect the once lush Pacific Northwest, adding to the mounting socio-economic inequalities. An intercity dispute over water control rights leads to a citywide mandate for residents to choose between centralized water towers atop each building or massive underground container reservoirs. Unique and cutting-edge storage solutions, both safe from domestic terror attacks and the toxic fog contaminating the West Coast, a result of globalized industrialization and the ubiquitous vehicle traffic snarling Portland roads for several decades following the financial mismanagement and subsequent failure of a poorly conceived, citywide subsidized public housing towers project. Our idea of Irving Park Vertical is as a resistance against the extreme dystopic visions of science fiction futures. Far-sighted evolution in human habitation and related social experiments require visionary application of realistic goals, not far-flung dreamworks marketed as the attainable byproduct of quixotic think tanks and other reality distortion fields. The Society for the Preservation of Lost Things and Missing Time presents this project and its potential for groundbreaking advances in the very concept of what it is we mean by urban, and is a substantial improvement upon high-rise, multi-use, alternative lifestyle vertical communities being marketed today. Draft of a Landscape, Irving Park Vertical, is an attempt to counter the possibly bleak certainty already taking shape in the early 21st century, with a balanced proposal, despite the gritty realisms we've identified, addressed, considered, and improved upon. Irving Park Vertical Proposal, a coordinated lifestyle social experiment for the arcological future. Why live anywhere when you can live everywhere?